NBA fans, just the other day I told you that over 70% of our subscribers here on Chat Sports are purely NFL fans. Well, now that number has gone down and we're around 61% from what I've been told from our data guys and our NFL guys. It's 61% still in favor of the NFL fans. So we need you NBA fans to subscribe so that we can keep the NBA videos coming all season long, all playoffs long, and all off season long. So hit that subscribe button and we're going to get straight into today's video. It has been a crazy 24 hours around the NBA. We didn't have any games yesterday, not having any games on Thursday. It is going to be absolutely insane whatever happens in the NBA schedule. Now, we saw the Bucks and the Magic. The Bucks were the first team to say, no, we're not playing and we're going to take a break from basketball for a little bit. But then the players got together on Thursday morning and they said, we need to finish this thing out. We're in the bubble already. Let's go ahead and get the playoffs going. So 3 games were supposed to be played on Wednesday. All 3 of those games got postponed. Now, 2 games were supposed to be played on Thursday. Those games are also being postponed. But now that the NBA has said they're working toward getting those rescheduled, it could be as early as Friday or it could all happen on Saturday, which just remains to be seen. When you look at how all of this played out, the Bucks and the Magic were supposed to play Game 5 at about 4 o'clock on Wednesday. And then the Bucks never came out of their locker room. It was a boycott. They said, we're not playing until something changes. And then 8 o'clock Wednesday night, after all the games got postponed for the day, and people at the time thought that there might not even be any NBA playoffs, the players said, hey, we're all in the bubble already. Let's just meet together. Let's talk about what we want to do next. That was at about 8 o'clock. That meeting wrapped up around 10. There was all kinds of drama that happened with the Lakers and the Clippers. But now, so they slept on it. They wake up the next morning, and the NBA players have said, no, we're ready to play. We want to get this thing going. Again, we do not know the exact day of when that's going to be restarted. Friday is potentially what could happen, and Saturday is probably the latest in which they will restart the games. Now, the Houston Rockets have come out and said, listen, we hear the NBA players. We see what they're trying to do with this social injustice, and we're going to do something tangible here. The Houston Rockets are going to open up their stadium as a voting center when it happens in November. And that's been the biggest thing from the players, is that they're just pushing the owners and the NBA executives to really make their voices heard. Do something tangible. Try to do something in their communities. And that's what the Rockets have done. They have already decided we're going to do something and stand up for what our players believe in. Now, the players have said we're playing basketball again. We're going to go ahead and finish out the playoffs. Do you agree with that decision? Because there's a lot of people on both sides. Some are saying, hey, probably would have made more sense to not play. Some are saying, smart idea. Go ahead and play out the playoffs. So if you agree, type Y for yes. If you disagree, type in for no. And what I'm going to do to make it real easy for you guys, I'm going to make this the pinned comment on today's video. So all you have to do is scroll down and respond. Now, Portland Trailblazer star Damian Lillard was one of the guys that was supposed to play on Wednesday night, but he's not playing anyway because his knee is not healthy. He has left the NBA bubble to go home and get his knee looked at. There was a time when his knee was so swollen that he could not properly bend it. He was in a lot of pain, and the Blazers were about to be without their best guard. They're still probably going to be without him, as he's already left the bubble. His status for what could happen later in the series is still up in the air, but with the Lakers up 3-1, we'll see what happens. With no Damian Lillard, I think the Blazers will probably roll with a lineup like this with C.J. McCollum, maybe the starting point guard. Gary Trent Jr. has been incredible off the bench. You might as well slide him into that starting 2-guard position with Carmelo Anthony. They already don't have their starting power forward in Zach Collins, so Wenyen Gabriel has stepped in there, and Yusuf Nurkic in the middle. Again, Damian Lillard's availability to return is in question. So there's a chance he goes home, he gets his knee looked at, maybe he gets some fluid drained from that knee, and he comes back and returns. But if the Lakers and Blazers are going to turn around and play on Friday night, or even on Saturday night, there is no chance we see Damian Lillard back in round 1. It's probably not going to happen, and the Blazers probably aren't going to advance or push the series far enough for this to happen. Now, the Blazers do have a lot of able-bodied guards on this team outside of Damian Lillard, but some of them, not that great. Some of them, okay. Anthony Simons, a good young guard that could potentially turn into something later. He'll probably get some more playing time now without Damian Lillard. Gary Trent Jr. has been incredible as a sixth man, but he's definitely not a starting point guard. C.J. McCollum can run the point, but we've always seen him at the 2 next to Dame. And their only other true point guard on the roster is Jalen Adams, who has not played in 2019-2020, so not a lot of reliability there. You look at the Lakers and what they've done. They basically dominated this series ever since Game 1. They currently hold a 3-1 lead. Now, Anthony Davis and Rajon Rondo were having back spasms that might have held them out of Game 5, but now that there's been a little bit of time, a little bit more recovery time that they didn't expect, we could see them back, and I don't think those back spasms will hold them back. You look at Game 1, what Portland did. Damian Lillard went off that game. The Portland Trailblazers won it by 7. People were starting to ask, is this the best number 8 seed of all time? Well, the Lakers quickly stomped that theory out, dominated them in Game 2, 111-88. Game 3, an 8-point win, not as dominant, but they still looked really strong all game long, 116-108. And then Game 4, Damian Lillard went down. The Portland Blazers really didn't have a lot to answer with. 20-point victory for the Lakers in Game 4. Game 5 without Damian Lillard, probably going to be a pretty similar result. Now, a lot of people do have the Lakers as their title favorites this year. Me, not so much. I'm going to go with the other LA team. The Los Angeles Clippers have looked very, very strong in the NBA bubble. I'm taking them just a little bit ahead of the Lakers, and then I think it's probably Raptors, Bucks as the second tier, and then you get into everybody else. But I want to know from you guys, who is your title favorite? Just let me know. Shout it out. Maybe you got a dark horse. Maybe you're running with the Lakers. Maybe you're running with the Clippers. Maybe you're taking a super dark horse and you think the Blazers are still going to win this series and go all the way. If that's you, you must be Charles Barkley. I appreciate you watching the channel. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Now let me tell you about today's deal. When you go to chatsports.com/NBA jerseys, you can get these great, authentic, with the nice hand stitching across the chest and on the numbers for just under $90. Any team, any player you want, our friends at Fanatics are hooking you guys up. Chatsports.com/NBA jerseys. They're authentic. They're brand new. You get them in the mail quick and easy. It's the best place to go. It's the best place to shop with the NBA playoffs going on right now. One team that's not in the NBA playoffs, and hopefully we'll get back there next year, the Golden State Warriors. Now, they landed the number 2 overall pick in the NBA draft lottery. Didn't get that number 1 pick, although they were tied for the best odds at it. There has been a lot of speculation about what they're going to do with that pick. Will they trade it for an established veteran? Will they draft a young guard like LaMelo Ball? Will they draft a big man like James Wiseman or Onyeka Okongwu? Well, latest reports are all over the place. Some say they're going to keep it. Some say they're going to trade it. But one report is saying that they're looking at 2 guards in particular. The first one being LaMelo Ball. And if you're a fan of Chat Sports, if you subscribe to the channel, if you have your notifications on, you know that I have LaMelo Ball going number 2 overall to the Golden State Warriors. Listen, LaMelo Ball should absolutely be the number 1 point guard taken in this draft. I don't think he's the best player in the draft, but I do think he is the best point guard in this draft. At 6'7", although he is very, very skinny at 190 pounds, his size and his ability to see the floor with that height is just unmatched compared to anybody else. Now, he's not a great shooter. In fact, much like his brother, his shot needs to be completely deconstructed and then built from the ground up. He's not terrible. I mean, he made about 25% of those three-point shots while he was playing in the NBL. But he's also not an incredible defender. That definitely needs to be adjusted. However, with his playmaking ability, his ability to finish at the rim, and honestly, his elite athleticism, I do think LaMelo Ball should be the second player and at least the first point guard taken in this draft. Now, let's just hypothesize here and say that the Warriors keep that pick. I do not expect them to. I still expect them to move that pick sometime, and I've got a blockbuster trade video coming out about that very, very soon, so you want to stay tuned for that. But let's just say they keep the pick. Who do you want them to take? A lot of people got mad at me because I didn't have them taking James Wiseman. That's fine. You're entitled to your opinion, even though your opinion is wrong. But I like LaMelo Ball a lot, but the Warriors also have their eyes on this guy, Tyrese Halliburton out of Iowa State. Now, listen, I really like Halliburton. I think he's going to be an excellent NBA player. I think he does a lot of things right on the floor. I do not think he is worthy of the number 2 overall pick. In fact, I don't even think he's the second best point guard in this draft. But let's give him some praise and talk about what he has done very, very well. First of all, he's got a high basketball IQ. He's an incredible defender with great length and a very good shooter, although his shot form is ugly as all can be. I don't even know what I was looking for there, but it's an ugly jump shot. But he played 2 years at Iowa State, and the second year really, really benefited him. He jumped up from 7 points per game to 15. The assists nearly doubled. The rebounds also nearly doubled. Steals per game, he averaged 2.5, and he shot 41.9% from beyond the three-point arc. This kid's smart. This kid's a good defender. This kid's got length. He's got a high basketball IQ. I love what he does on the floor. He's just not worthy of the number 2 overall pick. He's going to be a safe pick for a team. He's not the sexy pick for a team. And you look at my top 5 point guards in this draft. Again, Tyrese Halliburton isn't even the number 2 point guard, let alone the number 2 pick. Obviously, LaMelo Ball, the number 1 point guard in this draft, followed by Killian Hayes, a guy who's played in France and is honestly, so good. You look at, he's a lefty. He's a score-first point guard. Probably not a guy that would fit with the Warriors, but he's going to fit with some team very, very well. I have him as my number 6 player overall on my big board. Cole Anthony and Tyrese Halliburton. I have them 8 and 9 overall and 3 and 4 when it comes to point guards. I really couldn't decide, and I don't think you can go wrong with either one. I think you can flip-flop. I think Cole Anthony has a bigger boom potential, but Tyrese Halliburton has a lower bust potential. Now, Tyrese Maxey at the end, another Tyrese there at number 13. He is the 5th best point guard. Listen, if the Warriors really want to take a point guard, the best way to go is LaMelo Ball. And he's going to be there at number 2 because I don't think the Timberwolves are going to look to draft him at number 1 overall. I don't expect them to keep that pick. I also, if they do keep the pick, I'd be surprised if they took Tyrese Halliburton, but I'd love to see LaMelo Ball develop and grow in Golden State.